Hey everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, that is Connor, and we are going to talk about The Expanse, Season 2, Episode 3. It's called Static. Full spoilers for the episode as always. This was very much dealing with the fallout of everything that went down the two-part opener.
Yeah.
Just kind of like all the loose ends, all the dovetails that were left were kind of dealt with. So let's talk about Miller first. I think Miller, of course,
It's the obvious starting point, I think.
because he had the big moment at the end where he shot the scientist at the end, and so we see that Holden's not particularly pleased with his actions.
Not in the slightest.
No, so Miller is basically told to get lost. Fred Johnson lets him go, but it's basically just a case of, look, you need to go, and that's it.
And it's a case of, oh look, we're splitting back up.
Yeah, that was the first thing that came out of my head, but it actually kind of makes sense given how pissed Holden is.
It does. It's like there's a legitimate reason for it. Don't get me wrong. It's just it was clearly like, oh, okay, we want to keep him doing his own thing again.
Well, what I thought was interesting about the early stuff with Miller in this one is, he's in the bar and Amos shows up and gives him like some stuff that he had in the ship, and as soon as he walked into the frame, I'm like, you know what? If there's one of them that's going to sympathise,
Yeah,
with him right now, it's going to be Amos.
yeah.
And in a weird way, he kind of does, and they share their drink, and
It's a really refreshing change of pace from their relationship just 2 episodes ago.
yeah, it's this weird understanding of each other where. It's like because Amos is like, oh, like I had a shot him on sight as well, and the captain's not for that kind of thing, and like you almost see it in Miller's eyes that he wants to say something about him shooting his friend, but he's like, well, can't really say much now. So, no, I thought that was a good way of getting into him, and he obviously hears about the frequencies and the noises coming from Eros that we also get talked about in the other plotline, but he goes to the Mormon church. Do you know what I love about all the places on these space stations? They all feel like dingy little stores, like in a busy metropolis. So even the church just feels like that. It just feels like another
It's
block.
like they've just scavenged what they can get, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, like when he goes inside, it does feel like a proper like clinical kind of religious place. But when you're outside, it just looks like another store, like or another door.
Just another building.
Yeah. Building doesn't feel quite right because it's all part of the station. It's kind of weird, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
It feels kind of like you're in a mall, and it's
yeah,
all the different places in the mall. That's what it feels like to me.
yeah.
But he goes in, and you're like, wait, are we going this route with them? Is he actually thinking of joining the Mormons on their trip on the Nauvoo?
Yeah, and I was like, wait, are we going to be following that journey? Because I just assumed that that'll set off at some point, and that'll be it. Before this, obviously, that's what I'd assumed.
Yeah.
And then I was like, are we going to be on the ship with him? That seems really weird, and how they're going to tie that into anything going on back here.
Yeah, and even if he was, it's kind of like, well, we're getting all this exposition of how the ship functions, and they're talking about how part of it doesn't work and all that. And it's not until the end of the episode that we realise kind of
What he was getting at.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if he actually went in with that thought in his head, or if there was something more to it. But at the end of the episode, he comes back to Fred Johnson. And he's like, right, something's happening on Eros. This thing is doing something. It's not just. It's one thing if it's just killed everyone and it's just going to sit there dormant. It's doing something. It's clear because of the noises that are coming from it. And he suggests that they used the Nauvoo to blow it up and kill it.
Yeah, because obviously they blew up the smaller ship last season with the nuke. And they're like, well, okay, that's cool, but now there's an entire space station.
Yeah. And it's in an asteroid, so it's even...
Yeah, it's not small.
So that was kind of the cliffhanger at the end of the episode that we left on, is that, oh, right, we've got this idea for them to steal the Mormon ship, which I have no... I mean, they probably told us a figure last season, I can't remember, but billions of dollars, probably.
You would assume so, because they made a point of saying it was like one of the biggest ship ever built.
Oh yeah, they measure it in kilometres. You don't typically measure ships in kilometres.
No, you don't.
And it wasn't even just long; it was a kilometre wide as well.
I think it was 10 high and 2 wide. or
Yeah.
10 long, I suppose.
Yeah.
Not high.
I'd go with long. Yeah, it feels weird to have a ship that's.
I feel like it's kind of vertically positioned where they're building it, so I'm saying high.
I feel like once it's
Yeah, yeah, but
well,
it'll go a long ways.
well, like the space stations, I think it's got like a revolving system. So
Yeah,
like what way up it is debatable. I
it's
think
10 by 2.
it's 10 by 2.
That's good enough. Let's just go with that.
But the point is that's
It's
sizable.
huge.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like the size of a town.
It's a small town.
It's still a town. It's still count.
Yeah.
They talk about having schools inside it, and
Yeah. And obviously, because that's just the physical dimensions. Obviously, you've got it curves, so the circumference of it is probably like much bigger when you think of it in that sense.
they've basically got this nice park in the middle. He talks about they've got it's meant to emulate a summer day on Earth.
Yeah, and they can grow all their stuff on there.
Yeah. So that's the plan at the end. Ballsy.
It is.
But I'd argue the main plot is probably the interrogation of the one scientist who didn't get killed last episode.
Because Miller did his job.
Yeah, because Miller actually did his job before he went all gun ho on the other guy. They try and interrogate him and it doesn't work. Like Holden tries to sort of, in a traditional sense, interrogate him, and it doesn't work. And what they discover after the fact is that this guy has had his brain altered.
With magnets.
With magnets. He can't feel empathy. That's been taken away from him. So trying to like appeal to him, because that's essentially what Holden did. He tried to appeal to him, saying, "Oh, hundreds of thousands of people are dying. Where's your humanity?" Blah blah blah. He can't feel that. It's just physically not in his system. So
what I love about it, it's like it's clearly not his fault. It's clear when he was recruited, this was something that was done to him to make sure that he would follow orders and just do the project.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the scope that they did this to everyone on that project. It's like, damn, they really went for it. They really wanted people just to do this.
It's super dark, and it completely makes sense that that's how he sees all these people on the space station. They're just lab rats to him.
And it makes it really weird for this guy, because obviously he gets likened to a paedophile, and so obviously you villainize him. But at the same time, it's like, well, it's not really his fault. He was a victim of this.
Yeah. That's what Amos says, because Amos is in for a little chat, and I was just thinking he was going to beat the crap out of him.
Yep.
Because
that's Amos for you.
Because the psychiatrist or doctor lady who came in and told them about the magnets and they're not feeling empathy, the line she specifically said that made me think that Amos was going to go apeshit on him was she said, "The only life he can care about is his own." And I thought, well, you threatened that then.
Yeah.
And I thought that's what Amos was going to do. But no, Amos actually played it quite smart. He said, yeah, if you try and accuse them and demand answers, they won't talk to you. But if you show the thing they care about, if you show the thing they're obsessed with, and they liken it to a paedophile, if you show them a picture of the kid, they'll start talking with affection. Same thing here. You show them the sounds that are coming from Eros in his scientific curiosity and excitement will go haywire. They'll start talking about it.
I actually think this was a really interesting episode for Amos, because obviously we talked about the stuff with Miller, and then he's similar to this scientist in a way that often he doesn't portray any empathy. He just does the job. And it's almost like he can sympathize with this guy because he gets how he feels. Yeah,
it's like he relates, even though, as far as we know, no magnets have been in play.
As far as we know, yeah.
As far as we know. Actually, I forgot to mention just on Miller's side of things, just the entire scene that played out with him in the kid's bedroom, and even when the kid, the kid that was in the last episode that we seen in season 1 as well, even the scene at the end of the bar where he's like, Miller tries to walk off in the other direction, and the kids like drag him.
Yeah.
Because Miller's just going to wander off to wherever. All of it very amusing.
Yes.
Good comedy. Miller being disgruntled by the music, which obviously is when we first learn about the fact that this is all the noise that's actually coming from the
it's kind of horrifying.
I mean, they're kind of, obviously the music version of it, they've added stuff into it and they've messed with it to make it sound more like music, but we hear the regular version, and Holden and Fred Johnson and everyone like, yeah, something's going on there, and even the scientist talks about it's building something, and it's adapting with each new person. It's
trying to get off.
It's learning. Well, here's what I'm thinking. It's making noises. Is it trying to call to someone?
Potentially. That also... Is it technically one organism? Because obviously it's infected all these separate people, right? Are they still one like hive mind, or do they physically have to communicate to each other still now? I'm not entirely. Like, I'm wondering if they're just communicating to each other.
Feels like a hive mind to me. It feels like one mind.
Yeah, yeah, that's fair.
I mean, they could say otherwise, but so far it feels like a hive mind to me. Uh, it would beg the question if it is just a weapon that something else fired at Earth. Like, why is it calling back? Is it calling back because I didn't make it? Come, come, sort this out.
Yeah,
Although that said, we got a good comment last week explaining that it's entirely, or it's more likely that whoever sent this sent it a long time ago, because of the distance it probably travelled and so on and
Yeah.
so forth. So they probably already know it didn't work.
probably. Yeah, and it got stuck for a long time, didn't it?
Yeah, so they might even be on their way already if they're like, oh, that didn't work. Let's get there with something else or whatever.
Yeah. See, my assumption, they kept on like, oh, it's building something. I assumed some sort of ship or something to get off Eros.
Maybe I don't know because it feels like it's building. I mean, again, we've not seen any of it, so I'm just going purely or based on feeling here. But it feels like it's building something inside it rather than an
Maybe
external.
a transmitter.
Yeah, like maybe it's like it's doing this singing or whatever, the noises it's doing, and maybe that's like meant for someone out there to hear and that will understand it. But maybe it won't go far enough, so it's building a way
So
of
to boost
boosting
the
it.
signal, yeah.
Or maybe it's building something to sustain it. You know, because we know
Well, yeah,
it
because
likes
it lives
power.
off power,
Yeah.
but is see, this is where I'm not sure. Do we know how these stations are powered? Is it a sustainable source? Like, will it just keep going forever, or will it run out?
Don't they use the minerals and stuff that they all get? I don't know.
I'll do that. I'm not
I don't
entirely
know.
sure.
I'm just going because
No, because I'm just wondering, like, is it building like a way of having sustainable power so it can, feed indefinitely?
yeah, maybe. But then again, they keep talking about reactors. Maybe the reactors are infinite, or maybe they're not. I don't know.
See, a reactor implies materials,
Yeah.
like fusion and fission, and that stuff gets used up still, so it can't be infinite.
Yeah, so maybe it's doing something like that to sustain itself, or maybe I don't know. I feel like we've not actually shown any of it. All we've seen so far this season of Eros is just the exterior. We've seen the outside of it.
Yeah, and just little flashes from last season's stuff.
Yeah, but it's all stuff we saw in the finale last year. So yeah, there's been no new, and I feel like we're going to build up until the season finale this year, where we finally go back in,
And it's going to look completely different.
yeah, how much has it changed? It may not be the finale, but it could be.
Yeah, it feels like it could be.
And like how different will it be, and what's going on? So this very much seems to. I kind of like that everything's still revolving around the same thing. It feels very natural the way it's progressed in that sense.
It does, and it's the same like we talked about with the Earth and Mars conflict. It's still revolving around that. That was still there. It's just an evolution of what we had before. It's not new things entirely.
Yeah, so Holden's setting that. Amos seems to be working very well with them. One little point I did like, again, going back to like thinking Amos might go apeshit on the prisoner, is in the first interrogation scene when Holden's trying to talk to him and try to get stuff out of him, and it's not working. There's this. It's just a simple shot, but one of the shots of the scientist, it's a low angled shot, sort of dead like profile side view, and it's low angle looking up at Amos, looking down at him. And Amos was typically out of focus, but he was always there looking down at him, and it just made Amos look really intimidating. It was just a nice little touch to make him you're always aware of his presence in the vicinity of him, not anyone else. Him.
I also liked it just before it was when they went in to get him. After the prisoner beats the dude with the bench.
Yes.
And they go in and restrain him, and they press him against the glass, and you just have the shot from like over his shoulder. You see his face against the glass, just looking out at Amos on the other side, just staring in, just studying. It really showed like he had control there. Like even though he wasn't doing anything, he was just standing there watching. It felt like he knew exactly what was going on.
Yeah. Hey, creepy dude. He's really, really creepy in this, but it feels like he'll keep working with them as long as he gets to keep analysing the data.
Yeah.
Because that's what he's obsessed with. Which is kind of like the main guy last week as well. Like he had more of a sort of goal in the same way that the others do, like our human characters, because he believed in what he was doing. But it seems like this guy's kind of along that lines, even though it's because it's part of his program not to care about all the people that he's going to kill in his wake.
Yeah.
So no, that's cool. Led to some interesting revelations. So elsewhere in the episode, we followed the Mars crew again, led by Draper and her sort of team of four, the team of four Marines that have their pure advanced suits and all the rest of it. And the episode actually starts with the Mars moon base that Earth was going to destroy, and that happens at the start. We see the rockets blow up. And the reaction to this on the ship is Draper even more so is like, yeah, I'm ready for war. let's go.
Yeah,
let's go
like she
kill
wasn't
things.
before.
And our superior's like, no, our mission's to go and secure this food supply. We're going to go do that. Is that understood, soldier? And she reluctantly agrees because she believes in command and all that. Most of their stuff though in this one, they hinted in this in the first episode about how there's the one guy who's originally from Earth and he emigrated to Mars. And because all this tension's kicking off, they're really like basically being racist about him being from Earth and
pretty much
making all these little digs, and it creates this tension. Draper's not getting involved in it, but the other two that are on the crew are properly into him in it.
Especially the other girl.
Yeah, the other girl, and it leads to a confrontation. He ends up accidentally punching Draper because it kicks off between two of them, and she tries to pull him back, and she ends up punching him. And Draper, we at least learn that she won't take a punch, she will punch back, and she knocks him down.
Yeah. Breaks his jaw, I think, or something by the sounds of it.
Yeah, he mentioned, I don't think it was broken jaw, it may have been fractured or something like that.
Fracture is a break.
Okay, fine.
It's just a small break.
It's not, yeah, but if you say broken jaw, it's a...
yeah, I know. Just...
Bigger deal. And it's basically just all them, and they have their moment at the end where they kind of silently like just go up and like hand him a tool and help him, and even the sort of the blonde girl who was especially racist comes up and kind of pats him in the back and is like, yeah, we're all Martians. So again, not a whole lot there, but it just sort of simple. Again, it's letting us get to know these characters a little bit.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I think Draper's fascinating.
Draper's an interesting character. Admittedly, I don't know the three other characters' names yet, but I'm sure we'll get there in time.
Aye.
At least I'm getting a sense, though. I feel like there's the third guy, the second guy. There's the guy who's from Earth. There's the blonde chick. I'm getting a good sense of those two. It's just that last guy that I don't really have any.
Yeah, I don't know anything of him.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of joins in, obviously, on the anti-Earth stuff, but there's not much more to it. He just kind of follows in her lead. It's not.
He hasn't had anything that's his own yet. Yeah. Obviously, Draper's very well defined. He's got the Earth stuff. She's got the going against him. He's just kind of been there, kind of following the crowd.
But again, they've not had that much screen time, and it's just
they haven't.
They're still. This was all still to build character. I assume it's probably going to feel pretty epic when we get to the point halfway through the season where they actually get to properly do something, like actually intersects.
When they get to suit up and go on a mission.
Yeah, especially since it will probably intersect at some point with our characters.
Yeah, you got to assume so, haven't you?
Yeah. So that'll be interesting. Avasarala, a couple of small scenes, but key scenes because she sends our secret message to Fred Johnson, and her spy henchman dude that's doing all this for her is like, "Now you sure? Because they're going to hang us for this if they catch it."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Nah, just give me, you bald bastard." And she sends this message.
She definitely didn't say it like that.
Hey, she dropped an F-bomb later on in the episode.
She did.
Because Fred Johnson gets the message and he's talking to his OPA, sort of his second in command, I think she is, or high up, whatever.
Yeah.
And he's talking, and she's like, "Do you think this is real?" Because our message obviously says, "Oh, right, I've been lying about you in the media because of this, but I need your help. We need to stop this war. If there's anything you can give me on this Earth faction that's doing this, let me know," kind of thing. And he says, "All right, I think I've got something that she can work with. I think there's some information I can give her." And it looks like what he sends her is the location of a stealth ship and like the trajectory of all the stuff that went on in season 1 that we kept talking about with the ships.
Yeah, it was definitely the stealth ship. Because obviously that popped up and the trajectories were there. Yeah. I assume that was the ship from before.
Yeah, I think it was just explaining all the stuff that we were constantly talking about in season 1. It was that whole that ship from
obviously
Phoebe.
we saw it and experienced it all, but she had nothing on that.
Yeah, so I think that's what all that was. But yeah, she drops an F bomb when it cuts to her. You just see her getting it. You don't see her really look into it that much. It pops up. You see a couple of quick shots of it, and she's like, "What the F is this?" And it's actually like a really great moment because it is like all this information that we spent the entire season on. I think, unless there's more to it that we don't see yet. But
yeah, but if I feel like if there was more, we'd have been shown it. Like
probably.
We'd have seen why she was so shocked. Other than just it's everything we already knew.
Yeah, probably. A small subplot. Naomi, she has a bit of a fight with Holden, where she kind of like sympathizes with Miller, and that pisses Holden off. And she goes off, and her and Alex are with the OPA chick, and they're like, all right, let's fix the ship. We can fix, this almost blew you to smithereens, and this almost for sure killed all of you, but we can fix the ship. Which I like. I like that they're treating this one fight this seriously, like, oh no, we're going to spend an episode fixing the ship because it was that bad. They can't just go flying off.
and just not to jump over too much, but Alex really feels it with him doing the simulation over and over and over.
Yeah, he's just kind of doing that in the background until Holden comes up and speaks to him, and he's like, look, we lost 25 people on that FedEx crate.
Yeah, it was like, that was my bad.
Yeah. He didn't say FedEx, but that's how I'm referring to it. It's the FedEx crate.
Yeah.
But no, Naomi ends up bonding with this the OPA chick because she's also OPA, and by the way, she's done a very good version of the accent. This chick, the one that Jared Harris was doing last year, and I've noticed a couple of the other ones doing it, and it's like the OPA accent of the Belters that some of them have, and she bonds with her. They go drinking and dancing, and they play a sport where they use their hands.
It's basically squash,
but
they
the
just
hands.
use their hands instead of rackets.
Because they're hardcore. Who needs a racket?
Well, they clearly couldn't afford rackets out on the belt.
No, I think it's a sign of toughness. Your hand's good enough. You don't need a...
Could that be that? Yeah, Why not?
Should play with baseball bats. I feel like that's a true challenge.
That'd be a real challenge, actually. Because rackets is kind of easy. You got a big shape. You got a lot of surface area.
It's a big oval.
With.
Yeah, you've got a net on it, kind of thing. You Well, I don't really have much to say for this. It's just she bonds with this. We get a little bit maybe more of what her life used to be like through this.
Yeah, obviously we never really seen anything. We don't really even hear any of it that much, other than maybe that one scene where she was bonding with Holden last season.
Yeah, I think what maybe works for it is obviously she comes back at the ship at the end, and Holden sees her, and they kind of bury the small hatchet they maybe had from the fight. It's like, okay, we need to be in this together, and she's like, yeah, we'll do this. But I think what this episode does is it gave everyone this kind of breather. It showed that Amos isn't really one for going off and doing other things. He wants to always be on the cause. Holden, of course, is dedicated. But it shows you that she's a character who does need to kind of blow off steam, and she does, when she has that fight, she doesn't stick around and let things be awkward. She does go off and do other things. And
yeah, she needs the downtime.
Yeah. And Alex, of course, is upset. She's in a way the most human out of the characters right now, because she does need the Alex is obsessed with, oh, I lost this, I need to do this simulation 100 times.
Yeah.
Amos, it doesn't know what to do except from be
the mission.
On the mission.
Yeah.
And follow the orders of the captain or Naomi or whoever. It's interesting that he's like openly just calling Holden the captain now, though.
Yeah, he's kind of accepted it. He's settled into that role.
It's really natural.
I think the turning point was when Holden had the gun to his head. I think that was the turning point where, even though Holden probably wouldn't have followed through, it was like he had the balls to step up and force his command. Yeah, and I think Amos respects that.
Yeah. I think it builds this dysfunctional family kind of vibe where they all kind of trust and respect each other.
Yeah.
It's almost a shame that Miller's not a part of that now, because he fits so well into that scene in the first episode.
I'm sure he'll be back at some point.
Probably. But yeah, that was episode 3. Setting up a lot of things, putting a lot of new ideas out there. Obviously, we took a break from the action because, well, we have to.
Yeah.
But that's
they spent all their budget on all that ship battle last time.
Yeah, the next episode where it's just mostly in sets. No,
yeah.
Less CG ships shooting at things and whatnot.
Just a CG ball.
What ball?
When they were playing the squash, when it was coming at the screen, it proper looked CG to me.
Oh, was it? Okay, I never even noticed. To be fair, it was moving fast enough that I think it was...
Yeah, it was one of those weird moments where that stood out more as CG than some of the ship battles did.
Fair enough. stuff. There you go. That's Expanse episode 3, season 2. Let us know what you thought of this one in the comments below. And interestingly, some people have been commenting and like telling us, like, just expanding on stuff. Like, some people last week told us more about this Marine group and what the new initials stood for. They were the Marines versus the sort of the Navy that we'd been seeing in season 1. And it was just good little bits of information, maybe from the books, or just people who are obsessed enough to really pay attention to all the little details. And it's nice to have that stuff filled in. So thanks for that. Keep us and apparently we're not even through the first book yet, is what I also learned from the comments last week.
Yeah, and we heard that and we were like, how many books are there? I think there was like 5 so far, with a few more, 7 so far or something, with a few more planned.
Yeah, so I don't know. Obviously, I doubt we're going to get all the books translated, which might work out, might not. But so far, so good.
And you'll notice this was much more timely this week.
Oh yeah, because the internet wasn't out for a day and a half.
You'll notice we're actually on schedule, and this is roughly when you can expect it.
Yeah, pretty much. Give or take a couple hours. But thank you very much for watching. Let us know what you thought. Like and subscribe. Get us on Twitter at mailed_fudge. Get our individual Twitters on the screen. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you next time.